Good morning, good morning, good morning. Coach Tina is here. Happy 2024. It is the first day of 2024, and what more appropriate title for today's live than that? I woke up this morning. Many of you know that my routine, my habit is to wake up and say, it's going to be a great day. And I actually this morning said, it's going to be a great year. 365 days of great. And my husband said 366. And I went, yes, it is a leap year. And as you know, a leap year means we have 366 days. And that is so perfect for my thought process this year, which is more in 2024. And now we get one more day. Like, how amazing is that? Well, I do want to welcome you. I do want to say hi. If you don't know me, I'm Coach Tina. I'm the founder of the community, the Empowering Champions. And I'm so happy to get up every morning, every Monday morning, and share my Monday morning motivation with you. It's a short live, approximately 20 minutes, depending on the comments and the topic and what we have going on. So if you're watching today, I would love to have you put in #live. If you're catching the replay later, which I get it, it's the new year, the first day of January. And if you stayed up late last night, I get it if you're not up at 7 this morning. Although I stayed up late last night and I am up. So just saying, it is possible. We chose to bring in the new year watching the first season of The Chosen. We decided we're going to go back and rewatch it before the season 4 starts. And oh my goodness, the second time around was even better than the first. There was just so much more depth. This morning, as I laid in bed, thinking about the new day, I said to myself, I've really grown in that area. And to me, that was lovely to see that part of my life grow. That was pretty exciting. So, as we think about the first day of the new year, I always love the energy of the first day. It's got such a special feeling behind it. And for those of you that know, I love numbers. I love the 1, 1. And then we have the year, which this is an 8. If you add up all the digits in 2024, it's the number 8. So if you take the 2 from the beginning and add it to the 8, this is a 1 year for the world. If you believe in numerology, which Pythagoras believed that numbers had energy, and he had this whole system of adding single digits together, and he assigned energies to the numbers 1 through 9. And so those single digit numbers, he attributed particular patterns to. And so the 1 is the beginning. And what a great 1 year. We can start off with this concept of just like the seed. What are we going to plant? What are we going to do? There's so much opportunity in a 1 year. And then the cycle goes all the way through 9. So here's what's crazy. We all have our own numbered years. So we're working in our own numbers. But the earth, the world, our system also has a year. And so we are starting a new year. We are starting a new number. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, maybe because I'm talking about the number one thing that you will do today. But there is energy in numbers. And so we love the number 1 because it starts the process of what's really important to you. So the first thing you do each day sets the tone for the day. That's why I celebrate each morning. I mean, it's a gift. I'm awake and alive at that. And so when we start our new year, it's really important to do something today that has major meaning to you, that sets the tone for the rest of your year. So one of the things that my husband and I are going to do is Tony Robbins has a time management program called RPM. rapid planning method. And what we are going to do is do some work together in that. We got into the system at Date with well, actually at UPW, and it came later in December. I'll show you one of the books. This is the Tony's Success Journal. And I'm journaling in this every day, but there are 3 or 2 other booklets that work on the RPM. But he recommends that every day you have a journal and you write in it all your successes. And that is so that we celebrate all of our wins, that we keep a focus on the positive. And why am I doing that today? Because number one, it gets me closer to my husband. We want to do something together. So that gives us this extra oomph into the project. And it's going to set us up for all the things that we're going to do this year. We have a big trip planned in February to Whistler, Canada, to be with members of the Tony community. So that's going to be a thrill. And we want to go all in, do the things that Tony says to do. I woke up this morning, I did my priming. It is a fantastic process. It takes 15 minutes. You set yourself up, not just for the day, but you like flood yourself with gratitude, and you work on the cells in your body being healthy. It is a beautiful practice and something that I totally recommend. And then I got some movement in this morning. So I have what I call an hour of power, and I try to do, that's my time. And I try to do all the things that are important to me in that hour of power. That for me, this is not my work that I have to do. This is, how do I help myself to have the very best day possible? And so what are you going to do? The number one thing that you will do today? Put it in the comments and let us know. I see. Who have I got? Margaret, you are up this morning. Happy New Year. I am so excited to see you here. I thought that maybe you might have had a little bit too much fun last night and wouldn't make it. So that is a huge bonus. Thank you for coming. We're talking about the first day of 2024, of course. And so we're talking about the number one thing that we're going to do today. And we're going to talk about my number one, which is to help kick off our 7-day New Year, New Plan challenge. That's my number one for this community. What is it that I'm talking about? Well, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. All right. So the number one thing that I want to do is make sure we get 2024 started in the right way. And, there's always those New Year, New You campaigns. And I kind of battled on, what do I want to call this thing? I want to get together with you for 7 days, from the 1st to the 7th of this month. And we are going to follow my 7F framework, focusing on a different F each day. And that is going to help us to redefine what's really important to us and refine what we've already got. We want to always be tweaking, working, looking at our goals, deciding what it is that we really want. When you are connected and in touch with the things that you want, you are much more likely to get them. The first step is writing them down. They say that only like 3% of the population writes their goals down. And of course, from that population, those that write their goals down, 70% of them achieve them. Like, how cool is that? You are already in the elite status just by writing your goals down. But by writing your goals down, it puts you at the next level, because now you have a line in the sand that says, these are the things I want. Now, there's stuff you have to do behind just writing it down to get you motivated enough to do the things that you need to do to make those goals. It's the action that you take that's going to get things completed for you. But what we're going to do in that 7 days is we are going to get 7 goals locked in that you really want to focus on this year. I told many of you about going to what is known as Ulapalooza. So I'm wearing my Ula shirt today. This is this year's. And at Ulapalooza, we get a beautiful little surfboard. And on the back of the surfboard, we pin, stick, commit to our 7 goals. And so we are going to be making sure we lock in our 7 goals. If you have been following me for a while, you know that we've been going through this process. In December, we started out with our end of the year process where we started looking at each of the 7 F's and what do we want. That's to kind of get it going. Now we're going to refine. Now we're going to say, this is what I really want. We're going to pick those apart. And we're going to do that by each day examining another F. This is what the program is going to look like. We are going to meet live this week, Monday through Friday. So this was supposed to wrap a little bit and it's not, so it might look a little bit like just a bunch of numbers. But what it's saying is in the mornings, I'm going to go live at my 7 a.m., which is 5 a.m. Pacific and 8 a.m. Eastern. So I'll be coming live. We'll be talking about a topic. And then on Saturday, we are going to have what I call my weekend workshop. It's going to be in the morning. It'll start at 10 Central, so 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And that's when we're really going to have a chance to talk, work over all of the questions you might have, the details about locking in your goals. And then on Sunday, we'll just have a short wrap up in the evening. It's going to be at 4 p.m. Central, which is 2 p.m. Pacific or p.m. That's a typo on there on Sunday. Okay. And of course, if you're out of the US, you'll need to convert that, but I know it will be a good process for you. See, what we're getting towards is you having a workable plan. With a plan, you know what to do. It's just like a recipe. If you have a recipe, you're much more likely to be able to make that item, that dish, that tastes good because you're following a system that somebody else has already said. This is how much flour you need, and this is how much baking soda, this is how much salt you need. When you put that together, you get a product. Well, you might, based on your experience or tastes, like a little bit more cinnamon in it, or more sugar, or less sugar, or chocolate, whatever it is, you refine it, you make it yours. And so we're going to start with a workable plan and we're going to make it beneficial for you. It's going to be what fits your dietary style, if you will. But I guarantee you that at the end of the 7 days together, you will have a plan to work from, a recipe. And with that, you'll be able to get up each day. And it's not going to be what's going to happen to me. It's going to be, what can I do now? And that will be your workable plan. You see, we've been working on lots of different aspects of getting ourselves ready for the life we want to have. The desires of our heart are calling us. And you can just kind of push them to the side and call that one day that's going to happen. Or you can take the actions needed to push into that, to go to that next level. And so we have been working, I'm going to say this backwards. We've been working on what do we want this year? And then we've been breaking it into our 90-day, the quarterly, the 3-month plan. That's our benchmark document. And then each month we start off with a masterclass and a focus on what do you want this month? What's big on your radar? And then we break that down into weekly checkpoints, basically. What are we doing? What actions are we taking? How is it working for us? Is it not? How can we readjust? And we reassess that at the end of the month and say, okay, is this working? Is it not? And then we have the 3 things that we can do each day that help us move forward. It's those little steps that over time lead to the final destination. Now, are we going to reach our nirvana at the end of the year? Maybe, but most likely no, because as we grow, the carrot moves forward with us, right? And so that's okay. That's part of life. We want to be challenged. We want to be always forward moving, always looking at that next thing. But the key is not to get fatigued that we never reach it. It's to be in the moment, to be present, to be aware of what's happening in our life right now, to be grateful for what we do have. That is the fuel that we can self-generate. And that will get us to this great feeling of progress in our life. And it will be our accomplishment. Who we become on the way to where we're going, that's the vital part of your life. That's the lifeblood. That's the change that you get to continue to make. Now, our cycle is so simple. Monthly, we have our time together. We have office hours on the second and the fourth weeks of the month if you're in one of my programs. And even if you're not, on the third week, we check in, as well as we have end of the month. It's where we celebrate our successes. So we have these ceremonies, and it's a joyous event of really looking at what did we accomplish. So we are well on our way for sure. So if you are wanting to be a part of the 7-day challenge, go ahead and put hashtag 7 days into the comments. What you'll be getting when you do that is a link to join us on the morning sessions. We'll be having a live conversation. And as we go into each of the 7 F's and talk about what we want to do to refine and define that area of our life, we'll be having a conversation. So those of you that can join live, we will be talking about, like, what are the challenges in those areas of our life that we are trying to overcome? How can we get there? How can we put our strengths against them? And then before the end of the day, I will produce an audio lesson for us. That way it can be listened to as a podcast or as something you do at a later time offline. And then the next conversation day will happen. And so I'm really trying to make it applicable to the people in our community, the issues we're having. I don't want to just be talking this year. This year for me is about meaningful conversations, about really getting to know what's going on in your world so that I can take my expertise and I can help you to reach that next level. It's not going to be just about me throwing stuff at you. It's about you guys really having that voice and that opportunity to talk about what's going on in your lives so that we can take the actions necessary to move you forward. I'm so excited about this. I think it's going to be a really great experience. And of course, I see Margaret chiming in with her number 7 days. She wants to be a part of this because Margaret is all in, you guys. I have seen her this year push herself. She has gotten into discomfort and lived through it and come out better on the other side. Everything you want is on the other side of that uncomfortable feeling that you have to overcome to get it. And no one else is going to do it for you. You are in charge of your own life. And I'm so excited to see those of you that are willing to take those steps to get where you want to go. And so the very first F that we are going to talk about today, now I've designed it, it's 7 days and 7 F's, but we are going to bundle 2 of the F's on Saturday. And so we are going to come back to faith at the end as well. So we're starting with faith as the first F, and we're ending with faith on Sunday. So because I knew I was going to be introducing today, couldn't give it the full extent of the F that's necessary. And I want us to be able to have that conversation as we wrap up. But let's talk about the definition of faith. Faith is one of those areas that, in today's political arenas, we have to be careful about because we don't want to offend anybody. And I'm not saying that you have to believe this or believe that or follow my type of belief system, but you do need to have the definition understood. And the definition of faith is having complete trust or confidence. What does that look like in your life? In fact, what does faith look like in your life? What would complete trust or confidence do to change your world? I'm so curious to find out. And as part of our faith growth, okay, what things do you think that you could do this year to increase your faith? What are the goals? And it's interesting to start with this as a category, right? Because the faith category is one of those ones that doesn't get put in a lot of people's programs. So they cover the business aspects, your personal life, your relationships, your money, but they don't always bring in the faith. And see, what I learned early on when I went to my first ULA conference, the Ulapalooza is what we call them. I made my surfboard. I had all my my sevens up on here, and you'll notice there's 8 because at the end of setting up all your goals, the ULA guys will say to us, when you look at all your goals, what is one thing that's kind of like overarching over all of your goals that you want to achieve this year? That you know that if you don't do that one thing, none of the rest of it's going to matter. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it's really interesting. What they do is they have you go up on stage and you say a goal that you have. You read your sticker and you stick it on. They have a big surfboard, and that's the stage presence. And then we have the van in the back of the room, which is what's on my shirt. Can you see my ULA van there? This is all covered in stickers. And so you commit to this one thing. And the year that I stood up on stage for the very first time, I realized that I had written some really good goals down, just like I had written down really good goals for a lot of my life. But what I hadn't done was believed that it was possible for me to achieve those goals. And so my goal was to believe in my greatness. And I had no clue how I was going to achieve that. I got home and I was like, I made a goal that really doesn't fit the SMART goal format. It's not really measurable. I had to think about it. Like, it isn't something that I could say to someone later in the year, hey, I have more belief in my greatness. And so it was an internal process that I had to go through. And I chose to write down the phrase, I am designed by God for greatness and a purpose, every day for like 6 months. And I just kept writing it until I was going to believe it. And I would write it multiple times. I would go to it. I did it every evening before I went to bed. I had my journal right there by where I brushed my teeth. And what was really fascinating to me was the shift in my thinking. Like, I didn't really think it was possible until it was probably month 4, where I started to have this epiphany of, if I believe in my own greatness, the reality is that I'm not the only one with greatness. That if I'm designed by God for greatness, then every single person in this world is the same. And that's what created our community. That's what got me on this whole greatness journey. And what was really fun is, but we moved in that time period. Ugh, I hate moving, you guys. And here we are within the 3-year time period, we've moved again. But one of the things I discovered was my book called Seeds of Greatness that I had read in my 20s. Actually had it signed by the author. It was a real memorable moment for me. And this concept of greatness was deep in his readings, which I went through the whole book, but it sunk into my heart in a way that really, really was deep. And then it was just that, like watering those seeds. The seeds were in me, but I needed to now do something to bring them forward. So what do you need to believe in order to live the life of your dreams? That's my faith question for you. Because as we journal, as we go into what this area of our life looks like, you've got to get deep inside yourself. You've got to get real. You've got to get authentic. It's not hard to be yourself. What's hard is being yourself. If you're guarded all the time, if you're holding back, if you're not really in touch with what it is your heart is asking you to do. So I'm thrilled that we get to go on this journey together. I hope that you are wanting to be a part of it as well. And as I mentioned, it is going to run all this week with some weekend workshop and a little bit of Sunday in there. And it is going to be tomorrow that you can join, and we'll be going over our fitness. And I might switch that. It might be finance, because I have a really good friend that I'd like to invite in on Wednesday, and she is a fitness buff that I would like to talk to. So I'm going to just right here on the fly edit for our benefit. Tomorrow will be finance, and that will be fantastic to go over. So I'm going to see you on Tuesday, but I also have a recommendation for us. One of the things that I will be doing is sharing my list of resources for each of the F's. And what I mean by that is I follow a lot of different people, I've experimented with a lot of different programs. And one of the things that has really led to my growth in the area of faith has been what's known as the 100X community. And it all started with Pedro Adao offering a wisdom challenge. And, wisdom and faith go quite hand in hand. And so if you're a Christian or want to explore more of the Christian faith, he offers a 1-month wisdom challenge starting today. It is a 31-day challenge. And what's unique about it is it's completely covering the book of Proverbs. Proverbs in the Bible was written by King Solomon, and King Solomon was known as the smartest man ever to be in our universe, okay? And one of the reasons he was smart was he asked God to increase his understanding. And so then he took all of his teachings, his learnings, his information, and he put them into what is known as Proverbs in the Bible. And so they are recorded there for us. And if you are familiar with the Bible, it is a living document, meaning that it grows as you grow. As you dig in and get to learn more, you will find out more about what's in that document. And so we have the Proverbs that they read a chapter every day in the month of January. And what Pedro does is he has like a live stream. It runs about an hour, and it is free. And he will interview a person each day and discuss that chapter of Proverbs, but their insight and understanding about wisdom. And oh my goodness, such good speakers, such good information, such good insights. So I definitely want to bless you in that way. I'll put the link in the comments for you to also be a part of the community. And I know you guys will really enjoy it if that's an area that you would like to grow in. So I hope that you guys have a fantastic 2024 and that I will see you in the morning. Don't forget to comment #7days to be a part of the rest of this week, and add your insights, what you got from this session today, into the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. All right. Hope you guys have a incredibly blessed first day of the new year. Happy 2024.